We're kind of celebrating an INDEEvent event and running the show on an unusual time. We found that when we run the show on unusual times, all of you fantastic people out there in IndieVolt Radio seem to like to listen in. So we'll see how our numbers go today and how big they get. Last night, we broke a record. There's the official notification from wonderful Google, who won't leave me alone. We're going to run the opening. We have guests already lined up in the green room. Don't eat the Cheetos, guys. Don't take the, there's coffee there if you need it. Help yourself to the water. You there in the back, that's fine. You come on. Everybody come on in. Have a seat. It's okay. There's still a few chairs in the front. Mr. Anderson is in the house already. I need to send you that link, buddy. And I haven't done that yet. I will do that now.
Oh.
We have a few guests lined up. We have a few guests invited that might or might not show up. Probably, they probably don't believe our numbers, to tell you the honest truth.
How dare they?
So, how dare they doubt us? Exactly. But I'm in charge of the board today, so all of the nonsense, I guess, is coming through me, except for the wonderful radio numbers, or in case Varian has to cut in if I get too out of line.
That's right. Standards and practice is always watching.
Always. Big as is Big Brother.
Yeah.
So, absolutely. So we're going to run the breakfast opening, and we'll kick it off from there. Once again, welcome to the Sunday morning edition. For us, for you, wherever you're at, hello, wherever you are. And welcome to the Sunday edition of the Breakfast Buzz. Hang on. The coffee is on. Yes, can you smell that? And smell the coffee.
Is that what that is?
I hope so. I don't know what you're smelling where you're at, but
yes,
it's all beautiful coffee here.
I think the dog may have left a surprise for me somewhere. I don't know.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Left you a surprise under your chair?
Somewhere.
That's the hassles of having a dog.
Yeah.
We've got some great guests lined up this morning. We're going to bring them in to the discussion one at a time and have them introduce themselves, talk about their stuff for a minute, and then we'll bring in more people. So we'll see who else comes up along. Wait a minute. We've got somebody in the green room already. Cool. Hey, buddy. How you doing? He's waving. He's not sure if his internet's going to work. You got something to tell us, my friend, about the state of the world?
Terrible things are going on in the world right now. Absolutely terrible.
Well, thanks a lot for coming on.
Let me see here. Well,
we appreciate
you guys and just make sure you're okay.
Yeah, we're fine, bud. How are you? Oh, we lost the internet again. His internet is terrible. Really is bad. We're going to try to get him back in. But in the meantime, we still have the coffee brewing. We're going to kick that coffee off. Hello, everybody out there in IndieVolt Radio. Hey, folks, come on in. We have a few people here already. We have 3 likes already from YouTube. Don't be afraid to hit that like button out there. So, and comments. Cool. All right, here we go.
It's so lovely.
Here we are. Faces made for radio.
Nice and early.
Nice and early. Sunday morning. Coming down. Yep.
I should be in someone's church instead of online talking about comics, but here I am.
That's what the wife told me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good morning, Rob Anderson. Good morning. Marv is in the house. Marv Artwork. Hello. Marv from the wonderful country of Portugal, right on the coast. He gets to wake up every morning and listen to the sea. It's amazing. It's an INDEEvent. #INDEEvent. So Ralph Griffith says, good morning, Randy. Good morning, Ralph. Varian is also here. We have a lot of other people already sitting back in the green room. Oh, don't know what that was about. #Buttbeard.
Yeah, it's new character from Cat Dance Supermom issue 2.
Oh, okay. I thought that might have been something from the the new DS comics. Anthony says coffee blows and Cheetos are stale. Sorry, Anthony. Yeah, we'll bring you on in a second. Don't eat too many more of them then.
Yeah, that
We had to
coffee.
replace it. It was probably an old bag.
Yeah, that coffee isn't very good. That coffee back there is I'll tell you where the INDEEvent coffee comes from. It's when Dunkin' Donuts is on the way there, coffee from the day before. We get it. They give it to us in bags, and in like actual plastic bags. And we bring it in, and we, Yeah.
We do want to tell you our program is TVMA PLSV, just in case things get out of hand. Because I almost told Anthony if he's trying to get our coffee to do that, he's probably using it for the wrong purpose. We further want to remind everybody that the opinions expressed in the following broadcast are not necessarily those of INDEEvent Media LLC, its staff, contributors, or sponsors. Viewer discretion is advised. And yes, we do not have any idea where these opinions are coming from.
No.
None.
So should we start bringing in our guest? Or?
Ralph says, hello, Varian. I'm still rolling through the comments here.
Right,
People are waking up and talking. Katrina is awake this morning. Good morning, Katrina. How are you? Marvy says, good morning for you and afternoon for me. Absolutely. Yep. Smell white wine. Oh, he smells white wine. There you go.
Yeah, she hasn't started complaining yet. Oh, you mean the drink. I'm sorry. I was with my wife. I'm sorry.
Okay. Won't continue that line. All right. Reading this story from the Daily Beast. There's a story in the Daily Beast. It's probably a doozy. All right, we're going to bring people in now. First up, who do you want? Anybody?
Just bring them in.
Let's bring in as we've known them the longest. So first up, we're going to bring up a man with a great crowdfunding campaign, a successful crowdfunding campaign. He's going to tell us a little more about that and tell us how things are in steamy New Orleans. Good morning, Anthony. Anthony Figaro from God's Hand in the house.
Oh, good morning. You meant me when you said great crowdfunding. I wasn't sure what you were talking about.
All of them are great.
Successful individual. Mine, doesn't meet those standards. I'm being facetious and so on, of course. My name is Anthony. My name is Anthony Figaro. I am the creator of the God's Hand universe. You still get God's Hand. It's on demand on Indiegogo right now. I have a great international signature series. So for all my fans out there who are not in America, I have a nice little package for you. So make sure you go check it out on in demand on Indiegogo right now. That's God's Hand.
God's Hand. Yep.
Yes.
So how long have you been doing this, Anthony?
Been dabbling since I did some tattoos on the inside of my mother's uterus when I was a young lad. I've been doing it. I've been in comics since about 2000, 2004, 2005. Worked with Ape Entertainment, worked with Light Age Studios. And here I am today doing my own thing.
Is there any way you can turn your mic up just a hair?
Let's see here.
You seem a little low to me. How's he?
You might have to pull your mic closer to you.
How's he to you, Varian?
A little low, but
Not bad. I mean, we can hear him.
All right. I'll have to adjust this as we go. Is that any better?
Much better.
All right. Beautiful.
Also with us today is a guy I had the pleasure of publishing first in Flint Comics, and is now just busting out the walls with all sorts of products. His name is Josh Harris. I think he's been on the stream once before.
mm-hmm.
So Josh, how you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm doing all right. The coffee was kind of crappy, and the Cheetos are indeed stale. So
Well, sorry sorry about that. And you know what, Varian, we didn't introduce ourselves either. So
yeah.
but before you introduce yourself, Josh, Varian, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. I'm Varian Grant, founder of INDEEvent Media LLC. Started making comics back in 2008. I am a comic artist, a comic writer, publisher, enthusiast is the right word I guess I should be using now. Comic book enthusiast and a reluctant taxpayer. Thanks for joining us this morning as INDEEvent, the Breakfast Buzz is part of the INDEEvent. And yeah, that's all I got. So
the INDEEvent weekend, hashtag INDEEvent.
That's correct.
Yes. And hello, everybody. I'm Randy Zimmerman, your host today. I am a longtime alternate and independent comics creator. Done just about everything in the comic business except to be a cog for the major mainstream companies. Been doing all sorts of things. My main specialty right now is sequential art for advertising, which pays a little better than the mainstream does. So. And now, like I said, now we're going to bring Josh up and have him introduce himself and talk about his stuff real quick, and so we can get on to our other guests. Josh, take it away.
Well, I have been working in the business not as long as you guys have. I have been probably about 2016 was when I started with Randy. I started a sci-fi comic then. That was Wasteland Horizon. But I've moved on to other projects since then. Henry Graves is my big one. It is the story of a piano. And this one, basically, it's a...
Hold it up for the camera. Hold it up for the camera.
Sorry about that, yep.
Not a problem.
Yep. So Henry Graves is a paranormal investigator. I take a lot of inspirations from Hellboy and whatnot, but also some other sources like Full Metal Alchemist for any anime fans out there. It is like an alternate 1920s, and I'm just a big fan of paranormal stuff, so he just runs around, tries to fight evil and try to make it home at a good time. And that one, and then I also work on Astronaut High Schooler, which is pretty wacky. It's pretty crazy. It's just a high schooler with a baseball bat that fights giant spaceships and Godzilla-type creatures.
Any chance you can open that up and show everybody your interior art?
Yeah, let's see if it'll pop up here.
Sorry for the folks on radio, but
yeah,
there we go.
So it's I'm not very good at the dang camera.
That's all right.
It's a high action, kind of high intensity, over the top. This spaceship bigger than the planet Earth, and it shows up to destroy it. And Astronaut High Schooler is the only hero to save the day. So that one's like the wackiest comic that I've ever made. Like I said, they use a baseball bat to destroy a spaceship. It's absolutely ridiculous. But that one, I really wanted to take a step back from my serious toned comics and get a little wacky with it. I really enjoy drawing like a lot of energy to the characters. But then recently also I worked on a project called Chicago 20, which is based off of with my adventures in Chicago earlier this year, and it's based off of my friends at the C2E2 in Chicago, which was my first time there. Was amazing. And so basically what I did was I took our little wacky adventures at the convention and I turned it into robots running around a sci-fi Chicago with like flying vehicles and orbital elevators, and it's pretty crazy. I have a lot of really crazy ideas, and I have a lot of fun being able to move forward with it and do my own thing. And then recently, I am also working on the next Henry Graves installment, which I'm a big fan of doing a lot of architecture. So this one is just full of architecture, and all of these comics can be found on my website, jrcomicart.com, and then my
that's comic arts plural.
Actually,
right?
My JR Comic Arts is my social media, but without plural is my website. I'm getting it worked on right now. But yeah, so JR Comic Arts, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. And then jrcomicart.com, not plural, is my website. And I've got all my comics on there, available, free shipping as far as the eye can see.
And that's JR Comic Art?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that was one of those, all right, I'm just going to make my stuff, and then find out that they don't actually are the same name.
That happens. So
I can hear you feverishly.
There we go.
I can hear you feverishly typing in the background, Randy.
My who? What? Oh yeah.
I can hear you feverishly typing in the background.
I was feverishly typing. Yep.
Sounds like you were launching nukes.
Well, no, not today. And we're going to bring up now another person all the way from New York who has a couple of series of books that have been very long running. Mr. J.D. Calderon.
How you doing, everybody?
J.D., introduce yourself.
I will. My name is J.D. Calderon. I'm the writer and creator of the Oswald Chronicles and Tall Tales. Been doing this probably since '92, so it's been a while for me. And this is currently on Indiegogo.
Which is Oswald's.
Yeah, this is the Oswald Chronicles issues 1 through 8. The entire series is now available.
Gotta remember, the majority of our audience can't see us; they're on the radio.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. But there's also PDFs available. So if you're international, you can always check it out digitally. So just go to Indiegogo.com, check out the Oswald Chronicles.
you're in New York, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, New York.
Good old New York. I'm telling you, man, New York's where the fun is.
And you have the Oswald Chronicles right now up on Indiegogo.
Yes, the Oswald Chronicles currently on Indiegogo. Got another 18, 19 days left. And
You're
it's a
offering
fantastic.
8 full issues of that title.
Yes, 8 full issues and a one-shot spinoff.
There we go.
Show off.
Yeah.
The rest of us are trying
He's
to
been
get
doing this
trade
since
out or
'92.
something. He's like, yeah, I got 8 issues on that ass. I don't, show off.
Listen,
He's also co-creators of the Tall Tales.
Tall Tales. Yeah, I can pull out the
Series.
omnibus, and then then you can really call me a show.
There you go. And you should have that handy at all times, because people will go, "What have you done?"
Exactly.
There you go.
You can beat you with it.
Exactly, and be fatal.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Also in the green room, patiently waiting, is our old friend Rob Anderson, the indie advocate. Also responsible for Cat Dad and Supermom. Or is it Supermom and Cat Dad? It's Cat Dad and Supermom.
Depends on what that Whisperword Network says next week.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
may have to change the name.
It's,
She may have to
they think he owns all the internet.
No, I don't have to worry about it. I'm part of the Deep State Comics.
There you go.
I make the change before you know you've been changed.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
That's our
Good
new
morning.
comic company, by the way. Deep State Comics.
DSC.
DSC. Running gag. Sorry.
We should just steal the DC logo and put an S in between it.
Rob, is there anything else that you want to introduce yourself about?
Well, I mean, I own the internet. You nailed it. And the only thing I want to say is that they say if you want to be successful, put yourself in a room with people who are smarter than you, and that's why I'm here. So I can learn and be educated by people who are way better at things than I am. So I'm just going to sit here and listen and learn.
Well,
There's a lot of humility in Rob's coffee this morning.
as King should have fucked Mountain. I know that.
Oh, and JD, I should point out, I didn't have time to run out and get the donuts. That's why they're not in the green room.
Gotcha.
Okay. And you never know who else might pop in as we go along. So we're just going to talk about comics, talk about campaigns. Maybe Varian has a topic or two that we can stir up. He's good at stirring the pot.
Yeah, I mean, I could bring up some of the questions that I was very sad you weren't here for last night, Randy.
Mm.
Well, I don't think any of us except Rob were probably here last night.
Yeah,
so
I mean, I could bring up one of them.
we can always take it on.
Okay. Should I start with an extra mean one?
No, just start with a softball and we'll work our way up.
All right, hold on 1 second. Give me
Knowing
1 minute.
you're going to start with the extra mean one anyway.
Yeah. I try not to. I try to start with the nice ones.
Yeah,
I do, honestly. I try to work my way up to the nice ones. Right here, let me log in real quick. I'll pull up the questions. We did talk about one yesterday, which was but I'll bring that up now just so you guys can chew on this while I'm bringing all of them up.
And if all of you here in the room want to pull up your individual campaigns that we can share as we go along, let's do that too.
I brought it up. I brought one of them up right now.
Lester. I think I read this. I was surfing through YouTube, and the wife went, "Are they on again?" He goes on every time he gets bored, doesn't he? As a fan with no ambitions of becoming a part of the industry, I miss cons because now we've lost the personal meetings and conversations that we once had when meeting a new creator in Artist Alley for the first time. I think those who are happy to stay behind a computer and sell sell to their fans really don't like them. Lester, wow, that's kind of a harsh assumption.
Lester just told you guys.
Is that he told us off? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, what do you think? I like my fans. However, I will say this: there is something nice about not having to go travel.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some pluses and minuses here. The big thing I don't think Lester realizes is we're reaching a lot larger audience a lot faster online than what we are sitting behind a table at a convention and hoping somebody walks by. Plus, we're able to show our art a little clearer. That we don't have to grab somebody and say, "Hey, look at this book." Or granted, we don't put the book in their hand. There is not that face-to-face interchange or exchange, but there's a lot of pluses to doing podcasts like this. Just that, like there are a lot of pluses doing conventions. Just right now, we can't really do conventions. So, Lord knows they kicked me in the butt this year.
Jim O'Reilly says, "Shh, some of us are trying to sleep. Man, I need coffee." Yeah, we're up nice and early, Jim.
Yes, we are.
I think that the conventions are definitely something that I miss myself. Just because it helps change up my life. Sitting in my room behind my computer in my studio, it does get a little dry sometimes, and I miss the face to face. But we're dealing with it right now, and at least we have this. At least we're not all just home, not talking to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's very true. Going crazier by the minute. Digging into our own mental well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
JD, you want to weigh in on that one?
Stephanie says, "Hey, Stephanie in the house.
How are you doing, Stephanie?
Welcome aboard. Nice to see you listening in." Geek Insider, good morning. IndieVolt, breaking listening records last night. Congratulations. Thank you, Geek Insider, very much.
She said we need to come up with a goofy word of the day for Sunday for INDEEvent. How about I think of something that everyone can say, that even children can say.
I thought we were still going with butt beard.
Well, yeah, I guess butt beard is yesterday's word. It's passe.
Oh, gotcha.
That was yesterday's word.
Yeah.
Half a day.
Yeah. How about
Marvy smells the white wine.
yeah, how about white wine?
The donuts are
White wine, that's it.
Spy Tattoo says coffee sounds good always. White wine is today's word.
Yeah, white wine.
I don't have the duck rigged up to fall from the ceiling for anybody saying it.
Marion, what do you mean by white wine, considering your earlier comment? How are we supposed to spell that again?
AAREN. There you go.
2 W's, an H, and a silent Q.
Yeah.
Trying to win at Scrabble.
Anthony, do you miss cons, or do you think that or would you prefer to stay behind your computer?
I wouldn't be able to JD was JD, were you
JD, I'm sorry, I forgot about that. But he puts in the background so easily.
Terrible. So, I mean, yeah, I actually do miss cons. I mean, it was always a fun relief getting away and meeting the fans and meeting the other creators. And to be honest with you, I was one of the types I'd always be on the other side of the table. So if I talk to the fans, I try to get on the other side of the table and like talk to them, like a person, instead of just being behind the table, And but yeah, it's definitely something I miss because it's like, you're home and you're just staring at the walls. You're like, okay, what are we gonna do? But you bury yourself in your work, and you get online. And, you try to connect to people. That's how I met all you guys. I mean, if it wasn't for this whole COVID thing going on, which is unfortunate, I don't think I would have met any of you guys. To be honest,
it's good to put a face to the name finally. I mean, I knew of you,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I still can't pronounce your name, but now I know your face. So.
Oh damn! Really? I told you it's Calderon. That's it.
I can't do that.
Calderon.
Yeah, see. Hey, you're from New Orleans. You guys already got that tricky tongue.
Well, it's not the New Orleans thing. It's the Figaro thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Diego blood is what it is.
You see, my wife can do it too. She could do all that stuff. I can't. I'm like,
wife's a Dago, ain't she?
Yeah.
Part of that.
And Anthony, you miss cons as well, or would you prefer to stay behind the computer?
I don't know. I'm either or. I mean, each one has its own flair to it. I think it's good going to conventions because again, you get to, I don't know, I'd just say it's kind of an old school feel. You get the cellular. It's got this, I always laugh when I get there. It's got this carny feel to it. You know what I'm saying? It's like you've been traveling around. There's everybody's kind of like, hey, what's going on? You know, they're all like a bunch of carnies together and shit like that, and sell our wares and stuff. It's this old school. It's this old school feel thing, which I think is good, and I don't think they're ever going to go away. But I think COVID, JD hinted at it. I think COVID has done something where it has benefited the industry because it has forced creators to band together in a different way now. And I think what it's going to cause is more creativity, more product being done. Instead of spending time packing up, traveling, and whatnot, you're having the creators crank out product. So overall, I know as far as the social aspect of it, it impacts it kind of in a negative way, but in an overall healthy way, I think it's going to be good for the industry. This kind of pause to allow creators to get together and to create product. So overall, I think for the consumer, it's a good thing.
Sure. Anybody else want to jump in on that? Rob, go ahead.
Actually, as much as I love the fact that a lot of people have come together, unfortunately, you have to talk about the other side of it. There's a lot of divisive stuff going on, a lot of nitpicking, crab buckets, as Randy calls it, that's happening. And we're seeing a drop in crowdfunding campaigns over on Kickstarter, to be honest. They're seeing a 30% drop, especially in the comic book thing. We might be seeing higher than 30%. So I'm not exactly sure that a lot of people are actually out there actively working. And that might not be anything against them. There's no money coming in for the most part. People don't have the conventions to start their projects, to be able to pay for the initial art. A lot of times conventions are a way to start paying for art. So I agree with everything Anthony's saying on one side of it, but unfortunately there's the other side where there's not only a divisive thing going on, but there's a lack of finances for a lot of people. They can't get things started. So I know that once conventions come back, a lot of people are going to be eager to go. A lot of people are going to want to be part of conventions because there's money at conventions. We're forgetting about how much money you can make. I mean, I can run campaigns all day. And yes, a lot of them can be successful, but the minute you're at a show, it's this snowball effect. You start getting you get more backers on your campaigns, you get more people subscribing to your sites, and it just helps you grow. Right now, we're competing in an echo chamber, basically, where everyone's trying to get noticed all at the same time, and Facebook's coming around and down throttling us if we're making too much noise. So it's a double-edged sword. Online can be very dangerous, especially if we don't have other outlets, and it's very important you build your network appropriately to be able to get around it and give credit where credit's due. And I know people get mad at this. Comicsgate has figured out how to engage an audience online like no one else can. No, it's not the popular thing to say out loud, but it's the truth.
I think they've given a good example of how it can be done, and they've turned out to be very profitable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as Kickstarter goes, though, I don't know if you can really blame the current situation on Kickstarter's drop, especially in the comic book market. Because, quite frankly, Kickstarter had gotten such a bad reputation as far as comics go for gatekeeping and throttling themselves that folks went and jumped to Indiegogo in order to have a wider audience and be seen. I think that's what's really responsible for a lot of the drop on Kickstarter's numbers.
I would like to know if Indiegogo's seen a slowdown. From my point of advocating, we have seen a slowdown. We get asked less to cover crowdfunding. Mm-hmm. But we also haven't been asked a lot to do crowdfunding for Indiegogo, and I think that's because at one point someone had decided that we weren't supportive of Indiegogo. And that might be a little bit our fault by naming our shows Kickstarter Pause and Kickstarter The List. That might have been us seeming unfriendly unintentionally. I use Kickstarter as like you use Xerox for a copy. I didn't actually ever mean it to mean anything than crowdfunding. So we've changed a lot of that to try to use crowdfunding narrative now. So
I honestly think you're going to see when you have to compare Kickstarter to other platforms. I honestly think you're going to see Kickstarter become the MySpace of crowdfunding.
Ooh.
I seriously do. And I think that's the way the pendulum's swinging right now.
Possible, very possible.
I think
Good.
I mean,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Diddy.
I don't know. Yeah. Sorry, Anthony.
No, go ahead, Diddy.
No, I think what it is one of the issues I think that's going on is that there's a certain section of the community who feels that it's probably, since this whole thing with C-19 is going on, that they feel that it's not the right time to be putting on, campaigns. Whereas the guys I think who are using Indiegogo, they don't feel that way.
Yeah.
But and you've heard people talk about this online. There was a short while a couple of the big creators, they didn't want to put their campaigns up because of this whole thing is going on, because they were being talked down. But the thing is, that's not the case. People want entertainment. People want to be entertained. They want to buy stuff, But I think,
especially if they can get it mailed directly to their house, so they don't have to go out.
exactly,
All
and
you gotta do is
also
go to their mailbox.
Also, for those people who are not putting out, their campaigns out and just waiting, it makes an opportunity for the rest of us. Just move in, put out, push up your campaign a little bit further, push it a little bit harder, and just move in. If they're not going to take, that piece of steak, just reach in there and take it.
It also lends
I'll
to
put JD on that.
almost like a funneling effect too. If everybody's holding back on starting their Kickstarter, when is the official bell, the official announcement going to start? And if it does, is everybody and their brother suddenly going to pop out on Kickstarter or kick their campaigns out on crowdfunding at the same time? Because we all need money to live.
Mhm.
Terrible business.
Is this going to be an explosion of of crowdfunding campaigns that waited? We're waiting until the bug goes away because that wouldn't be good form. And that's a sad attitude, I think, that's out there. It's an excuse for the hashtag pencils down thing and for people to not be creative during this time.
Yeah, right. The problem with that is, again, you do have a Thunderdome effect right now, where it's like, it's limited resources, but from a principle standpoint, from a health standpoint, it's good. Because what it forces product to compete, and what it does is it weeds out products that normally could not compete, and so you wind up with a better product.
I think you're going to see that hardcore if there's suddenly a floodgate of campaigns. You're going to see a lot of problems.
That's the thing, though, is that what JD's saying is on point. That in the meantime, this is everybody who's out here who's competing right now is getting leaner and meaner.
Yeah.
Because they're out here in the mix when it's scarce. So when whatever ground is made up in this period of time, you're ahead. So they can come in, 1,000 campaigns can come in at one time.
Mm-hmm.
If you've been out here scrapping it out, building an audience, doing all of this stuff right now, you're already ahead of the game. So now's the time to make your bones, and now's the time to cut your teeth if you have the ability to do so. Again, I'm a believer in merit and talent, and good ideas. And regardless, if 1,000 products come out at one time, and your product is of merit and has talent and has craft to it, it'll rise. It's just the way the market is. It may take a little bit longer to sift through the thousands and stuff like that. You may have to slug away a little bit longer, but again, I think that's the thing, that the different attitudes of like JD, myself, Randy. I know it's like, well, we've been around, for a while. It's like, right, it takes time. Sometimes it takes decades.
Yeah.
You just gonna have to do what you got to do and fight it out. And who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen? You know what I mean? But I think it's gonna show. I think it's sharpening the industry, because I do. The positive I saw, Randy, was that you had a lot of trash that was going on prior to this. A lot of fat that was going on prior to this that shouldn't have been around, and that the COVID has basically burned off a lot of that.
Well,
a lot of that stuff not to be as upfront, and I think it's good for the industry.
Well, I think in comics, it doesn't take an outside force to have a shakedown. And you see that happen every once in a while, where the fat gets shrugged off and the bad campaigns leave, or people decide it's time for them to flip burgers. Josh, you got any input on this?
Yeah, I was gonna bring up something that I've seen a lot, and is there's a lot of new readers and a lot of new people coming in. Like Anthony, you're saying about just how like trimming the fat and kind of all the bad stuff's falling. A lot of new people are coming into these crowdfunding websites, and they're seeing what they like and what they don't like. And I mean, they're looking for something a little bit more quality because they don't, they haven't been around the block. So a lot of friends that I know, a lot of people that I know, and a lot of people, I've seen online that they're looking for entertainment because of this. They go online suddenly, and I think that's a big thing, is that this has definitely brought in a new audience, and they have different expectations. They haven't been, been here since the 90s, since the 80s, and so I think we're seeing a change in taste, at least from my experiences and the stuff that I read and the friends that I have. The tastes are changing a little bit as far as the new readers are coming in, and I think that's kind of cool that this has brought in a lot of new people. And then as far as also like the like making money and having enough money, I think this is like COVID is really, at least for me and like I said, people that I know, has really made us think a little bit differently on how to get some money. And so like I really started pushing online. I made a video on Facebook and said, hey, I don't have any conventions right now, and I'm not making the money I usually do this time of year. Help me out. And instead of making a Kickstarter or crowdfunding, for me personally, I just wanted to go to friends and family because I know I have a pretty strong network, and I've been just rising to the top for me personally, and being able to ride that wave of help from friends and family to make my comics and then get these crowdfunding things set up and have these plans that before I never would have. So for me, it's been a blessing for my productivity, but for the comic industry, it's definitely waves and waves of craziness definitely going on, anything you can think of. So I think it's been a good thing, and it's been a bad thing. I mean, that's life.
Well, also on the other side of the spectrum, it's nice to see that perspective, your perspective. I'm glad that you came on the show to express that. From what I've been seeing a lot lately, especially with the crowdfunding campaigns that have happened, there's a lot of older folks that got out of comics, that stopped going to retail shops, that were disgusted with the product, that have come back, that realize that here's where you can get the old product that I used to love to read. Here's where I can get entertainment. Here's where I can, hey, I remember that guy from 10 years ago. I want that book. You're seeing that happen a lot also.
So with new readers, you got the younger readers, and then, like you said, you got the older readers.
I think, quite honestly, crowdfunding is just blowing the walls out of the audience. Again, thankfully, because Diamond and the retailers and the mainstream comic companies were constricting it so much over the last few decades. Like you said, you're seeing a younger audience come in with different tastes, wanting different products, looking for different quality. I'm seeing older readers come in looking for older tastes, older products, or older style products, not older products, but older style products with recognizable, entertaining quality that they want to get back to. Yeah. Marvel and DC now aren't even reprinting their old stuff. So the older collector guys can't go in and relive their youth even if they wanted to. Even the reprint, the 100 pagers that they kick out in Walmart don't go any farther back than 2000. So, and that all the real classic stuff I think happened long before that, when they were still doing done in one stories. Mm-hmm. So it's nice to see, and when you pick up a larger book, a graphic novel on crowdfunding, at least you're getting, if not the whole story, then a tremendously large chunk of story.
Exactly.
We would also like to bring on at this time a different perspective. I'm going to drop that here, Sean's comment for a second, and bring Kat in. Kat, how you doing?
I'm good. How's everybody this morning?
Introduce yourself.
I'm Katrina, or Kat, either one. I am an author and editor.
Keep going.
Let's see.
Don't stop now. Now's the time to push your stuff.
Yeah, I actually have a book coming out this coming Tuesday, so we're only 2 days away now, which is super exciting, called Tales from the Toy Store. It is 20 short stories for kids at bedtime.
Wow. And how can they find that?
That is on Amazon.
Under
Tales from the Toy Store.
Tales from the Toy Store.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to switch over to a comment now from Sean Mitchell. Or is that Sheen? Sean.
Sean.
Let's say Sean. You ass boys, got any feelings on rebooted indie comics? I see a lot of creators nowadays doing total or soft reboots of their IPs. I don't like it. Gee, Sean, why don't you like it, buddy? It's just an expression of creativity. And anybody that's rebooting feels that idea there is still legit and it needs to be seen. Rob?
I also think you're not giving younger creators the ability to grow. Sometimes when we put something out in the very beginning of our careers, we don't have the skill set yet. I have a Kickstarter right now that shows a lot of my earlier work. I feel I'm a better creator now than that. I'm proud of what I did. Doesn't mean I don't want to go back, take those characters and update them for what I can do with them now, because I've gotten better. Look at Marvel and DC. I mean, you don't go, well, I don't understand why the Fantastic Four don't look like they did back in 1960. It's just evolution. It's reflective of time. Sometimes the books we put out are already a decade old. We have to update them because they weren't using iPhones 10 years ago. I know it's hard to believe that, but 10 years ago, iPhones aren't what they are today.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just have to update your IP. And I've seen, to credit to a lot of creators in the independent market, I've seen them have a reason to update their characters. I've seen them go and make it special. They don't ignore the back of it. They don't really do a reboot. I don't know why you call it a soft reboot. They just update their characters and put them into the nowadays. And you know what? Like Randy said, sometimes it's just about being creative. I really like this character. I don't want to give up on it. I want to tell a new story using them. How many comic book characters have we seen that work with? Blade. Blade was all but done after the 1960s, all until the 1990s. Now he was a huge deal. He went away for a while, and now they're bringing Blade back. It just happens. That's comics, baby. We get waves. People like things one day, don't like them the next day. You got to go with the industry and hope that you get to survive long enough to tell your stories.
I think you're always going to see reboots. Sean, that goes as far back as any of the bigger companies. Think about how many Flashes there are out there of Green Lanterns. You're going to see reboot after reboot, and some of them will succeed and some of them won't. The last reboot of Green Lantern was an Asian female who had a lamp that she would stick on, a Green Lantern that she would stick on people's graves and bring them back to life. You don't see that incarnation come out very often anymore, if at all, you know. And I thought that was pretty ingenious and a real cool new spin on that name. So anybody else want to chime in?
Yeah, I think one of the reasons that I think a lot of creators are rebooting is this. I know myself, I think the issue I'm currently having is that there does come a point where your line is a little too deep. Okay? So there is a saturation point where a person it's a little difficult for them to break in. It's one of the reasons why, you know, Marvel and DC sometimes have issues with new fans coming in when they're at issue 302. You know, a fan is like, damn it, where do I start? Right? So, you know, when you get to that point where you have so much material on a certain character, on a certain series, you're like, damn, you know, at what point can a fan break in? You understand? So sometimes it gets a little intimidating for the fans. They're like, you know, this guy's up to issue 9 or this guy's up to issue whatever. And you know, the creator's like, you know, but this is where my story's at, you know? So
Well,
sometimes you got to reboot.
Yeah, sometimes on the crowdfunding side too, you're seeing a lot of guys that were working in the mainstream. They weren't able to do their own IPs for years, decades even. That now they get a chance. They see crowdfunding as an opportunity to actually go out and express themselves. And the way that they want to express themselves is back with their original ideas, their original IPs. So that's why you're seeing a lot of these reboots. And a lot of those reboots are much, much better even than the originals because, like we've been saying, they all have more experience. And they're able to express themselves better. Yeah. So back up on the comments. Ravi says he learned a lot from this weekend. Thank you. Go ahead.
I was just going to mention, I've got friends over at Sierra Nova Comics, and it's the Sierra Nova Chronicles. And something that they're wanting to do is to do a little bit of a reboot of their first issue, because at the time they didn't have the artist they wanted. And the artist was, I don't quite recall where he was from, but they were having trouble just communicating on what they wanted. And the artist took a lot of creative liberties and ended up kind of ruining some of their details. And for some reason at the time they didn't know it was their first comic, so they didn't know what to do, so they just kind of went with it. And so I've seen some indie creators have the ultimate control over what they're doing. Usually you might have a few editors here or there, but you definitely don't have a whole team working on it like some of the bigger companies do. So
it's a lot more of a personal voice.
Exactly. So they have a very personal vision of what they want. So when I feel like I've seen some creators, a lot more indie creators, people that haven't been around as long, want to do a reboot because they just want to make sure that their product makes sense rather than, at the time there was problems with it or something happened like that. So I've seen that happen a few times to a couple of people I know. So I say the reboots are good if they just want to be a little bit more creatively accurate to their own vision. So I think that can come in sometimes.
Trico Lutkins is in the house. Hello, Professor. Thanks for stopping by. Jim said sorry he had to step away. We are always going to be available on YouTube and on Facebook. But our big pride right now is IndieVolt Radio. So we welcome all the listeners over on IndieVolt Radio that are listening to us. I'm sure our number is pretty high. I'm not sure if Varian's alive to give us a number. Somebody keeps popping this stuff up. But anyway, that's a long.
Yeah, I can give you a number. It's we're actually at 37,500 people listening right now.
37,500.
Yeah, and they are showing support for Anthony because our lead country right now is Italy.
Nice. Beats, bro. My paisans over there.
Yeah, I'm gonna step away now again. Thank you.
All right, Dylan F is stepping up with a comment. Me and my crew started up a workshop studio a few years ago. 20 artists. Oh, yeah, there you go. 20 artists ages 18 and up. 150 a month. Get your table rental in your bullpen. And while, of course, you can work on your own projects, we get projects in from clients that we put teams on. One would think that adults would know how to use an internal monologue rather than talk aloud and disturb/annoy your pen mates. Is this something any of you artists have encountered or grew out of on your own? Dylan F. For one, having a bullpen of people, especially 20, 18 and up, you're just inviting work not to get done, in my opinion. A lot of us guys work on our own for a reason. In our own basement, we like seclusion in our own studio. You see some of these studios with 5 or 6 people come in, and those studios do some awesome powerhouse work, but it usually doesn't last very long before they're all at home working on their individual projects. Rob?
I also want to point out that's very rare that people even do that setup, and any place of business, any place you get a lot of employees, they're going to talk to each other. My question would be, why are you trying to make a bullpen? When we have the internet and all these abilities to do these things, why not have people at home, hold them accountable? And why are you charging someone $150 to be part of this? They're gonna feel they have a right to talk because you're renting a space. You're losing a little bit of control because now you're renting a space. So that's their space. That's their little group. And what's an internal monologue? I don't understand what he was trying to get with.
You're sitting here working, talking to yourself or singing. All of us do that, though, but we're by ourselves. Nobody gets to hear us. So.
Yeah.
And you think my face isn't made for radio. Just listen to my singing voice.
I mean, I don't know. I call for it. I know it's our election Thursday. But I'm going to call a little bit of bullshit on the question. I don't see this.
You really need to move your mic a little closer, Anthony.
How's this? This is better. I'm working on this. How's this? This better?
A little, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this fucking microphone. I don't know. I'm gonna call somewhat of a bullshit on the question. I think this is. I don't know. Rob was sitting on. It's like, who does this? I think this is. You're trying to set up a hair salon. I mean, you're gonna charge them $150. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? And then that's their spot, so they can do what they want. Like, what are you gonna try to count? Because that's the problem with this. And then if you ever work in a construction site, if you ever work like with your hands for a living, you got 20 guys on the job site, you better have a good foreman running that show, because they're going to be cutting up and they're going to be dicking off and they're going to be doing all that type of shit. And you're paying them to be there. They saying these guys are paying to be there. So then they're going to tell you, go get fucked because I'm paying you $150 for this spot. So that sounds like a disaster to me. And I would lay money that if this happened, I would lay money that this lasted about 2 weeks.
I added that Dylan is from Australia, by the way.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The wacky down there. Go ahead.
I saw that banner.
See, you're doing shit backwards, man. I know it seems like the right way, but you're down under, so everything is backwards. You should never do this. Which I'm sure you know now, not to do this.
It just causes more trouble. Yeah. It does give somebody $150 a month for a small cubicle in their pocket, though. Booth rental. But it all it does is encourage people to play more than work, actually, in my opinion. Josh, I saw you down there shaking your head.
Oh, what's that now?
Saw you shaking your head.
Oh, well, I was actually just thinking it's one of those, when you get a group of artists and you're all friends, or at least you know people, you have this like drive to be like, yeah, let's all get together and work and stuff. And that's exactly right, Anthony. I completely agree with you. It's I had a few friends that talked about wanting to get together, and we all started talking about it. Let's rent a space. Let's all work together. It just doesn't work like that anymore, and your productivity just goes out the window. Like, you're right, Randy. You horse around. It starts to you all walk in there with the confidence that you're about to make something amazing, and then 2 weeks go by and you've done a page.
Yeah,
it just doesn't work. I don't think it just works that way.
There have been times where studios have come together as packagers, especially in the early days of comics, where they throw entire products together in order for people to print. But nowadays, especially with independent comics, yes, bless you, Rob. Nowadays, with independent comics and crowdfunding works, where it's more of a singular work or a single job here, a single job there. So we all tend to be working out of our basements or studios individually. Yeah. Kat, any input on this? I don't mean to be ignoring you.
No. I mean, I'm not an artist, so but I tend to think of things like NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writers Month. We have a fantastic local group here that gets together once a week, and there's probably 20 to 30 of us in a room writing. And the only time it's quiet is when we're doing like a 20-minute writing challenge. Otherwise, nobody's getting anything done. We're all talking amongst ourselves, and it may be about the book, and our plot points and whatever, but it's not, a productive time by any means.
I hear you. Rob?
I think Anthony nailed it. I mean, you go back and you listen to how those shops were made back in the day, and you had Eisner walking the floor, yelling at people, no talking, use the rest of your pencil. I think we've forgotten that this is a business and an industry. And again, you're charging someone for space. You've already set up a weird work environment. Because now, are they working for you, or are you working for them? Who's in charge? Who's the boss? And plus, I mean, why? Why do that? And I know on this show that Varian's not around right now. No, Varian talks a lot about his mistakes early on trying to make that studio environment. I wish he was here to talk more about it. But yeah, you bring people together, they're going to want to be chatty. They're going to want to interact. We're talking about coronavirus right now and how much we miss people. Do you not see the correlation? This becomes a hangout. People show up to hang out. You're reading this.
Due to the conditions of my parole, hold on, I have a statement. I am not allowed to talk about my business follies. Thank you.
Sorry, I forgot.
Says the man who did an entire panel on his business follies at Space a few years ago.
That was to say fuck you to other people, not me.
That was before the popo. That was before the dark days.
Well,
sorry guys.
There's a cat. There's a cat.
There's a cat.
Cat butt. That should be today's word. Cat butt.
Yeah. So to counter some of this, I know back in the day, but the thing is, Anthony's right. You do need a tough taskmaster, because back in the day when I was first starting out, I worked with a group of guys, probably 8 or 9 of us. We would get together twice a week, and everybody would show off their artwork. And the thing is that depending on the group you're working with, like I said, we're from New York City. We're very competitive. These people showed up to literally show each other up. I mean, literally, they would throw down their pages and they would laugh at one another, point out their mistakes, and in the following week, that person who got goofed on, they would come back with a much stronger work. So,
that's, in my opinion, that's a whole different situation,
Right.
because you're feeding off of one another. And even though you might be criticizing everybody's work, pointing and laughing, you're really criticizing each other's work, and everybody is getting to be better from those critiques. That's a lot different than a bullpen attitude where your buddy in the cubicle next to you tosses a toy or a beanbag or whatever over the wall just because he's bored out of his mind drawing the same house over and over again.
Right. Talking about a generational thing as well. That's a totally generational thing. Whenever I worked on whenever I worked on job sites and shit, you worked with older cats. And when it was time to work, you couldn't go to work. You were playing around bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And they pull a prank every now and then and pull your legs and shit. When it was time to work, it was time to work. I think we have a totally different. I think you have a generational thing now.
You really need to pull that mic closer to you, buddy.
I'm about to fucking throw this microphone.
It sounds like it's
I think I would recommend that. Think about giving that the round file. Well, sometimes it's worth it, buddy.
No.
Nothing wrong with a little Yeti action every once in a while.
You gotta fucking show off.
Anthony, is your mic plugged in? It actually sounds like your mic's not plugged in and you're going off your internal.
Yeah, it does. Almost your laptop mic.
Yeah.
I don't.
It might just be a mic setting. Just double check it with the cam mic at the bottom. See which mic is plugged in.
Plus, when you're closer to your mic, your face isn't quite in the shadows, though it is right up in the camera.
Coming for the shadows, baby. Coming for it.
He's just showing us how handsome. That's all.
There we go.
Ready for the spicy question, Randy?
Sure.
Oh, here we go.
I'm gonna dip
Have the
out.
spicy question.
I'm gonna dip out. I don't want to answer it. Bye.
You don't want to answer it? He's got to call it up first. Here it comes. He's on his old system. That's why he's not on. Dennis Lyle. So you support a comic. Tell us to back it because it's good. And the second people start complaining that it's not, you fuckheads turn tail. You had Project Access on the show and shilled for it. If anyone owes backers a refund, it's you guys. Well, I don't think that's quite how that works, Dennis, even though not every campaign's going to be perfect. Not everybody's going to listen to advice. Not everybody's going to do the recommended thing. And you're not hearing us shill for it now, are you? So it turned into a bad situation, which is why Varian can't talk about it. And what can I tell you? Not all of them are winners. But we're here to celebrate comics as a medium in general, and a lot of times art is subjective.
Can I talk? Oh, Randy, Randy muted.
A lot of times art is subjective, which is what I said. We didn't know the book was going to be going to look as bad or shipped out as bad or crumpled up or whatever. And we tried as hard as we could to work with Nick to do a competent product, and obviously we did not succeed. Rob.
First off, with crowdfunding, Dennis. First off, hi and fuck you, just as always. Because Dennis is a long-time writer, but we do love him writing in. But he always says something nasty and always starts with curses, and that's got to stop, Dennis.
How dare you?
You want to talk to us, but don't start that way, Dennis, because you clearly want the interaction. So, Dennis, look, we don't get to pre-read these books. Like with Conan. When someone goes on Conan, they're talking about a movie. You think Conan saw the movie? He hadn't seen the movie yet. That's our job. We're trying to talk about these creators. We tell you, oh, it looks good, or we think this guy's energetic. No one hands us a book. Sometimes the books aren't even done. Look, it's crowdfunding. You know the deal. You're taking a little bit of a risk. But here's what they did that you're not giving them credit for. They found a problem and said, hey, whoa, time out. They didn't come out here like Tyler Carpenter from Draw and Talk, however he says it like a high-pitched dog. We actually take the time to tell you, hey, we found a problem here, and we're not going to defend it. We're not going to make it okay.
We saw it and we discussed it in order to try to use it as a learning example.
Yeah. And we held them accountable. We
Yes.
literally helped. We said to everyone, go ask for a refund. If we could give you a refund from his campaign, we would. But we didn't get the money. That's what you're forgetting. There was no money given. Randy didn't get money to advertise that guy. IndieVolt didn't get it. Varian didn't get it. So Dennis, as always, just stop and think. Should I be saying this out loud? Would this make me friends? I think if you try that, Dennis, you'll be a lot more liked in the future.
And you have sent us good questions in the past that have been sensible and well written. And we do appreciate you listening.
Yeah, just, be cool. Be cool, dude. Like, come at it right. Ask us, well, what changed your mind? And we'd be like, well, we found out he's not a good guy. And that happens. We all have ex-girlfriends, ex-boyfriends, ex-friends, ex-bosses. We all know that sometimes relationships sour. That's humanity, baby. We can't change that. If we could, we would. We'd vet people. We'd give them IQ tests. But you never know,
Yeah. Yep. That was standards and practices. Calling Rob. So, be careful.
Stupid fucking question, man. I don't understand. Half of these questions I don't understand.
That's because Varian's calling him up. Yeah.
Why? Because I'm like, so.
And it's not like he's not here. He can pop in and out anytime, and he's listening to us. So don't think I'm picking on him for not being here.
It's like if a radio station promotes or has a musician on talking about his album, and the album sucks. Like somehow it's the radio station's fault. Like how does that? So if Jimmy Kimmel has a guy on to promote his movie and the movie sucks, that's Jimmy Kimmel owes you a fucking a refund? Like I don't understand that. It's not like IndieVolt said this is an IndieVolt product, and we're putting this product out, and we want you to buy this product because it's an IndieVolt product. And so it's like, what I don't understand. I just don't understand the question. Like somehow, because you have people on here to talk about, that's what this is. It's a forum to promote the product. But as a consumer, you have the ultimate say so on whether you want to buy it or not. And Rob said it too. It's crowdfunding. Like you understand the game. You know what the game is. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? You went and bought a dud. Okay, cool. Guess what? Don't buy any more from that guy.
We can't control how they ship. We can't control how they print. It's just that there are some things that are just totally out of our hands. But
that's what I'm saying. No one ever said that, man. I don't think anyone anywhere has ever said that. We're somehow going to guarantee that any product that comes through here, we're going to guarantee the condition of the product, the salesmanship. We're going to guarantee any of the production element of the product. It's like that's not what we do. It's just we're simply a platform to allow into people to come on here and to sell their wares. You know what I mean? And so
we always tell folks to look at the campaign, decide for yourself, buy in if you want or if you can, and that all we can do is recommend that they take a look. So and what they do after that is completely up to them. I can honestly tell you I did not buy into that campaign because it didn't appeal to me and I didn't want to be a part of it.
Randy's basically saying dumb shit for buying.
No, can I?
But we have had people on here in the past who have done products that I haven't bought in on, and other people that we've had on that you can tell from the way that I promote it, where I tell you this book is underfunded. This book needs more money. Take a look at this product. This product needs to be backed and pushed. Iva really comes to mind because that product is really polished, very professional, and deserves every dollar and more than what it's pulling right now. It's way underfunded, and I can definitely tell you that. And I bought in hard on that campaign.
And I just want to quickly add on. You guys are completely right, Anthony. Everything you said. But let's just be honest. When we're on a show and it's a dud comic book, or we have reservations, like Randy's saying, listen to the hosts. They're like, yeah, look at this book. Hey, that's a comic book. Hey, check that comic book out. Listen to the wording.
Isn't that lettering crisp?
Yeah, like Dennis. I don't know
everything that Randy said about my book.
Yeah, well, Dennis, I don't know if you're blind. I really don't, and I don't mean this any other way because we don't know if you're blind. But this is a comment to anyone who has eyes. If you have eyes and you saw that book and you still backed it, I'm sorry, that's on you. You do pictures and you still back that. That's on you. I can't help you. You had Ray Charles coloring that book.
And despite your vicious communications, we still sincerely feel sorry for you for buying into that campaign.
I like to bring up something else too. I'm sorry to cut back in, but
Be careful. Be careful.
I told Dennis last night, Mr. Lyle, that we had made on IndieVolt. We had some people who've come on IndieVolt have made steps to correct the situation and remedy. Both Rob Anderson and Michael Oden have said they will send anybody who ordered that book and received it damaged. I believe that was the qualifier. If it's damaged, shipped incorrectly.
No, I'll give anyone a book. If you backed it and can prove you backed it and you got a shipping copy, I'll give you a book. If you did a PDF book, I'll give you a good book.
That's out of the kindness of your own heart too.
Yeah. Just because I feel horrible and I want you to still back. Dennis, if you want a book, you can pick from fetish, monsters, and more. I'll give you an elephant farting that teaches morals. You tell me what you want, Dennis. I'll make it right. Just because.
And Michael Oden also went in that with Elysian Fields. He doubled it. He said, "I will go in with you, Rob. I will ship anybody a book as well." So we did try to make it right through our people that we have on the show. So
and that's even better than a refund, quite frankly.
Yeah.
You get twice the books or 3 times the books for having to deal.
It costs nothing. We need your address. The address. Yeah. Pick a book from my collection, and we'll get Odin to send you one of his because he's only got the one book. But yeah, we're gonna make it right. So we're trying here. Thank you. I forgot about that variant. Just Dennis should make me mad. Dennis should make me mad.
I just want to add. Anyway,
Varian, since you're here, what's our number?
Our number right now. Hold on, crap. Got me on the spot. Hey, all right, cool, pretty cool. Our number right now is 48,460 people, which is pretty cool. So
thank you, everybody.
5,000 mark. I don't know if you've seen the comments. Right? Have you gone through them?
Have what?
The comments.
I haven't gone through the comments. No,
Okay.
and I need to. Yes, we've been talking.
Standards and practices out.
They're what? Standards and practices is out.
Standards and practices out. That's me. Like Seacrest out.
Sorry, I slipped away. Standards and practices says the secret is out. Let me work my way to it. I think
I'm out.
You're out.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Later.
We're used to reboots from the big two, and they are able to do a good job. But lately, they suck. That's why people don't like reboots. The bad ones stay in our memory. Yes, they do.
Hey, Randy.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Real quick, just for the INDEEvent, right now, Legend of Traveling TARDIS has begun with Christian Basil through the INDEEvent. That goes from 10 to 11. So that's it. If you want to check it out, it's there. But you know that you should. Don't tell anyone that this is where it's at. We have 48,000 listeners on the radio. Thank you very much.
Yeah, they do get. Yeah, do they get supplies, a copy, or a computer with this rental? We have no idea. Spy Tattoo. I had a collective, and most times it was a great herd fest where we ate pizza and talked the whole time. LOL. Yeah. Probably didn't get a lot of work done. Attention spans aren't what they used to be. Nope. No, they're not. Glenn, thanks for listening. Philman X, running a comics team is like herding feral cats into a bathtub. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That was the whole point, and it was thanks Philman X for stating that so well. Buddy Lord, throw up some likes in the room. That feeds the algorithm and funnels people to you. Yes, please. Right now we've got 22 people watching us online. That doesn't count the fantastic people on IndieVolt Radio. The tens of thousands. 48,000 people. How amazing is that? Like bomb. Jim Riley has a question. Let's go back to that. John Celestri, who's been on the show before. Fantastic John, the animator. I don't know if did you catch that show, everybody? Did everybody get to see John? Josh, did you get to see that show? We gotta have John on again. He come on. We put out an open call one time. John come on. We'd never seen him before. He's been listening to us while he's working. He says, I worked in animation bullpens for decades. You needed to make a weekly quota of drawings, or you got booted. You're fired. John says, yeah, I worked on that little thing, that Star Wars holiday special thing. I drew Boba Fett. And we're like, holy crap, dude. That's amazing. Then he goes, yeah, well, I worked for Don Bluth Studios for a little while, and, if you ever played that Dragon Slayer game and your character died, I probably animated that too.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly. That's what we were saying. John's fantastic. He's working on an awesome book now that he's going to crowdfund when it's done. I believe it's called The Mighty Moose. Sounds fantastic. It's kind of like a cross between almost like a funny animal version of the classic Billy Bats and Captain Marvel. So, Geek Insider says, look for INDEEvent on YouTube. Hashtag INDEEvent. Subscribe, share, and network with all of the great participants in this fun, interactive weekend event. There's been some great shows on. They are all archived up there. So next time you're working, you pop over to where on YouTube that they can listen to it. INDEEvent? What's
yes,
the channel for that?
I think if you just search the hashtag.
You could search the hashtag, but both playlists are both on the Geek Insider one and on mine, the Advocating channel. And I'm going to work with Variant to try to get you guys to upload it onto the IndieVolt. And that way the playlist will be there. Yeah, it's a couple steps. We'll have to do it with Meredith. But it's there. You got to go in the background and just add a playlist. But it's pretty cool once it's there. Yeah. So then it becomes part of what we did because we've all worked very hard together. Credit to Geek Insider, Rising Tide Publications, of course, Comic Book Advocates, and IndieVolt. Even Bleeding Fool, we have had connected through this. It's been an amazing share. So many great creators and people have been part of it. Please check out that playlist.
There's a wide variety, which is why we're doing this podcast this morning. So Matthew Harris, thanks for listening. I bought a burger because I saw the commercial on CBS. The burger sucked. CBS owes me a refund? Exactly. Travis Gibb, thanks for listening, Travis. I'll ship a broke down book. Well, let's hope not. That's not good. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
I'm thinking he's meaning on those who backed the certain comic that it didn't turn out so great.
How dare you?
Exactly.
Yeah, from Karen Gibson.
I'm sure we took that out of context. Marv V. Artwork says, congratulations, Dorfis in the house. Hey, Dorfis. Thanks for listening. Glenn Ford says, I got to go. Have a good rest of your show. Thanks, Glenn. He's always off and running. He doesn't seem to be able to stay in one place for too long.
Have a great day, Glenn.
I think he's on a different schedule from us. He's going to bed more than likely. So, anything else happening? Varian, any other question you can toss our way or anything else that you want to add? Did we cover that? Yes, we covered that well. That's kind of beaten to death. Varian's being quiet suddenly. He's probably away from the microphone. So, anything else? Let's pop up to that question that we had. Jim O'Reilly. Question. I work full-time job and do comics part-time. Do any of you do the same? If so, how do you manage? Who wants to take that? Rob.
I actually do this on my panel. I've spent a lot of time both as a single father. I work a full-time job. My comic book industry career has gone through many different phases. And the truth is, here it is. You have to treat everything that's non-essential as a reward for getting work done. So your TV programs you don't need. Your games you don't need. You need to spend time with your family. You need to take care of your kids. You need to pay attention to your job. Those are all necessities. The rest is a reward. So give yourself deadlines. Keep yourself active in what you're doing. Listen to audiobooks for your education with comic books when you're driving to work and all that.
Or podcasts, IndieVolt podcasts. Yeah.
Absolutely. Listen, download the IndieVolt app on what is it? Google stuff. The
Streama app. There's all sorts. We'll cover that at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Can even ask Alexa to play IndieVolt Radio, and she will.
Yeah, there's plenty of ways to
most of the time
to find the stuff within your bubble. You just got to look at how you're spending your time. If you're playing video games, if you know the newest Netflix show, if you know the newest movie, you're talking about how you drank all weekend with your friends, there's your time. There's your time.
And I'll tell you two things I've learned in my old age. One is that thank God for streaming, so that you don't have to, in the old days, have to work at watching the clock every 5 minutes or setting an alarm in order to be able to catch your favorite show, because it was only on and only on usually once. And two, there is such a thing as quality time that you need to remember. Figure out when you work best, figure out when you're alone and able to work at your top speed, and always do that. Always be there. I work best early in the morning, just as I wake up in the morning, and I'm good until, my eyes get blurry, and then I have to take a break. And then late at night, that's what podcasting is for, socializing with friends, catching up, doing marketing, whatever else that you have to do that, you can use your mouth with and you're not necessarily using your hand-eye coordination on. That's the way it works for me. I find I get a lot more done when I'm working in that quality time window. I can do almost an entire day's work. That's why they have that old Army slogan. We do what most people do in the day, we do by noon. That I have found, especially for me, works out incredibly well, that I can get an entire day's work in 3 or 4 hours, or what I wanted to accomplish or thought I could accomplish in a day. Boom, done, before my days actually really started. So just a suggestion. You really have to, like Rob said, you really have to donate your time. You have to schedule your time.
I know what works for me is just consistency. Every day, set aside an hour or two and make sure you always work those 1 or 2 hours.
Yeah.
Consistent. Because the thing is, you can only get so much done in a month, an hour a day. But after a year of doing that, you can get a great deal done. So that's how you have to look at it. You have to look at it. You're taking it on 1 year at a time, and you're doing an hour or two every day. So the more time you can spend doing it, the better. But try to at least get in that 1 hour. And if you're consistent, you will get a lot done in a year.
And how do you manage, Jim, when you have that and you have those responsibilities that you have to get done, just like just like being a single mom, because what you're working on, especially if it's an alternative comic, it's literally your baby anyway. You figure out the way to manage. Once you start doing it, you get it in the blood. You schedule your time. You're always there working towards it. And then instead of what Rob says, working towards a specific goal in order to do something frivolous, you're working hard to get to that point where you can sit in front of the board, and that's where you're really enjoying yourself. Because it's never, like the old cliche goes, it's never really work when you're doing what you love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's something that definitely, with Jim's question, working a full-time job and doing comics part-time, that's what I've been doing the past 4 years, and I think the big thing, it's tough because, Randy, what you said, and what everybody said, finding your time, that part of the day, what works best for you, that was the best advice I got. But when you're working a full-time job, sometimes your best time of the day, you're at that job, so you don't always get that time on the comics. And I think, especially if you work that full-time job, it's learning how to adapt and being okay with, sometimes schedules are going to be constrained, and that quality time is so dang important. And for a while there, I thought, oh, if I just work really hard, I'll be okay. And man, you burn out real quick.
Yeah, it's not hard to do when all you do is work. You really have to schedule that time, and there really is such a thing as quality time, where you're going to be more productive during a certain amount of time than you are at others.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anybody else?
I'll throw this in here. It's a lot of adaptability is big to that, but what I would say is what everybody said is important, what everybody said is on the mark, but you will have to cut out a minimum of 3 hours a week where you detach from everything, and then you go somewhere and allow yourself time to just basically tune out of all of this stuff. Because if you stay on shit like this, it'll burn your ass down. You'll blind out. If you got, especially the more things that you balance. I got a wife, I got 2 kids, I got my own business that are on the side. I got all kind of other stuff like this. If you're doing all that and you're doing the comic stuff, and you're not at some point cutting and detaching from everything, and I don't care if it's sitting in your backyard and meditating for an hour. I don't care what it is. Going to the movies for an hour, or 2 hours and watching a movie. you need something to breathe for a minute. And remember that it's okay, bro. Like don't because if you put too much pressure on yourself, you'll crack yourself. You won't do your best work. You'll be unhappy, and then you'll just say, piss on it, man. And it's just it'll burn you down. So having at least 3 hours a week, which isn't a lot of time, you can squeeze in 3 hours a week to yourself, where you just even if it's 1 hour here, 1 hour here, 1 hour here, where you're just detached from everything, I found it's been very beneficial for me.
And sometimes you'll get a lot more work done when you've got that time scheduled. Yep. Jim also wants to point out that I forgot Travis's book is called Broke Down in Four Dead Bodies. I just thought he was going to send him a broke down book.
Okay. Hey,
Sarah,
go somewhere, but,
Anthony, yes, thanks.
You guys for having me on. It's good to see everybody.
We're going to get you a better mic, buddy.
I know, man.
Maybe a light too. That might come in handy also.
I don't know. I got a face for radio. I don't know.
We all do. So don't be afraid.
But I'll hook up with you, Randy, and we'll see if we can get this thing out.
All right. Before you go, buddy, I just want to do one more push for your book.
Yeah, you can find...
That's God's Hand over on Indiegogo. It's in demand right now.
It's almost at 14.
Give it the elevator pitch. Almost at 14. Give us the elevator pitch, Anthony.
The elevator pitch is, this book is a book about New Orleans. It's about New Orleans legends, Jean Lafitte, Marie Laveau. It's a supernatural thriller. It has a Lovecraftian element to it. It's if Angel Heart met Hellboy. And so it's a murder mystery. It's got some great art in it, great story. It's got all kind of New Orleans real life things that are packed into the book. Look at that artwork there. Whoever the artist is fabulous.
Fantastic.
Incredible.
You could go check it out. We also have a lot of stretch goals. We have trading cards, which are limited to it. We have a death card, which will be coming out. We have posters, and we have a lanyard bag that'll be with it as well. So you may want to get on this before it closes out. That's Indiegogo, God's Hand.
God's Hand. Any idea when you're going to close it out?
I'm probably going to close it out in August.
Okay.
In August.
Well, make sure we have you back on before that happens so that we can do a push on it.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure you will.
All right. Thank you so much again.
Right. Anthony, thank you deeply for being on. Yeah.
Have a good morning. Have a good day.
Appreciate you. Anthony. Take care.
Take care.
Onward and upward. Sarah's in the house. Sarah S. here. Congrats on the number of listeners. Thank you, Sarah. Hashtag INDEEvent has been spectacular. Thank you so much for listening. Rebel Gaming says, lol, I work part-time job and do comics part-time, and between the two, I barely get by. Anthony or Marv has a question. I hope he's still around to hear it. Says, do you feel that comics are being pushed away from cons because of games, movies, TV shows, and the main events are now the main events? I think it is. What must be done to change that? Anybody want to address that?
Rob always says the best way to change that is to kill your masters and eat the children.
I do not do that. No, that's your boy. That's your boy, and that's all you. No.
I would say, look, you know what? Here's the thing. In my opinion, comics were popular with a certain group of people because we could do what the movies could not do for so long.
Yep.
For budgetary constraints, and now people say that the movies have caught up with what comics can do, and I don't think that's true.
Right.
On paper, that sounds nice, but I don't think that's true. I don't think that I think that comics are still evolving, and they have to evolve occasionally. They have to jump forward that next evolutionary jump, where movies are now scrambling to figure out how to do that. Because if comics can do what movies could do, they do a lot better. Go ahead.
And it's so funny that right now, if you go through a lot of these books, especially from the mainstream and secondary mainstream companies, they're all doing very domestic, very shallow, very one set stuff. When's the last really good space opera? When's the last, crowdfunding. When's the last really good end of the world book? come out. The person who survives the apocalypse with ruins all over the place. Where's the whimsy and the fantastic stories? You go back and you look, especially at like Marvel during their heyday, doing Fantastic Four was literally fantastic. Every issue they were going a new place, seeing a new world, going to a different area. Nowadays they'll just sit around and talk about pizza or the problems in their lives, and they hardly even throw a punch anymore. And that's or let alone be heroic. That's a whole nother topic. So let's see comics do what comics do best. There really needs to be an explosion of imagination and the sequential art side of the market, and you're seeing a lot of that coming through right now on these folks that are doing their own books. So
something I wanted to bring up too, as far as the question goes, I really do feel like there's a side to look at this, is that how many people are coming to cons, when they were on, that are coming for these TV shows, for these movies, for these games, and then they wander over to Artist Alley and go, wow, look at all this stuff. Those are new readers. So we're bringing in a whole new demographic of people who are not into comics. And I know a lot of them that leave and suddenly they're real into a bunch of indie stuff. So I do agree that cons are, the comics are shrinking, but they're also bringing in more people from other demographics. So I would say there is a good side to look at it.
That's very true. The market has really mutated to now there's almost two different kinds of shows. You've got the media show that has the guest on it, that's a huge spectacular that runs for 2 or 3 days. But you've also got a return to the little one-day shows. At least I've been seeing lately. I've been throwing quite a few of those little one-day shows where you have people and craftians and artists that are mostly local, that are there selling comics, selling their artwork, selling their genre crafts without that big megastar, that you can go and spend an entire day leisurely looking around and finding new people that are doing amazing things right in your area. So keep your eyes open for the little one-day shows, even the little mall shows that pop up and have been happening, with a more local focus. Don't be afraid to support your local artists, and because you never know where that comes from. Folks like Bone and Eastman and Laird, who do Turtles, all started out locally doing their own little black and white book somewhere, and then it took off from there. It's encouraging them when they just get started. That's really the most important.
Yeah, I think the industry needs to try to refocus and maybe try to get back to just comic book centric shows as opposed to these media shows. But it's hard for the promoters because they see that's where the money's coming in. So they're just going to want to just do that. But, I think just a concerted effort has to be made where maybe a small group just puts out a show and it's just comic books. And it's just comic book focused and art focused. Whereas opposed to bringing in, one of the Chris's to sign autographs for people at $300 a pop.
Right. Sarah says, good idea, spend an hour or two each day. Spy Tattoo, they call it rise and grind for a reason. If you want art as a job, you need to put in the hours of work. That's way true. Spy, good talk. Sarah's STY Spy Tattoo, you're welcome. I heard an artist say that having artist block is a luxury. Professional can't afford. That also is very true. Spy Tattoo, very true. Jim O'Reilly, thanks. Needed that motivation, guys. Appreciated. Spy said that art is wicked. He's probably talking about God's Hand and what was his name? Dennis? Not the guy who sent that note in.
Lyle.
Lyle? No.
Lyle.
Dennis Lyle, I can tell you, I backed God's Hand happily. So there you go. But I'm not going to give you a refund if you don't like the book. Tyler Carpenter, hey, I heard I was called out on here. Would love some context. Randy Zimmerman, context Tyler? Context Rob? No?
Was I away?
You might have been away. I think Rob sent some stuff about Tyler's show.
I could have been the softball questions when we were talking about the different shows to go on. I said you could go on Tyler's show, but you saw how he handled Marcel. Could have been that. I don't think we.
I think that was it.
I think that was we were talking about how people get away with stuff, and I'm like, we don't have Tyler's show. Tyler's show will give you some questions. We won't, because like the way he handled Marcel. Ooh, a lot of people angry about that. I know I was. I talked to him personally about the fact that I thought that the way he handled Marcel Dupree's thing, it was not cool. It was not. It's his show, but you don't have someone who's literally not delivered on so many Kickstarters and be like, I'm kind of taking your side, Marcel. Marcel, it really wasn't that bad. All those people who don't have their money, that's okay. They don't have their money. Oh well, they don't have their books. That's a problem for me, man. And he knows. I told him personally. No hate towards him. I just thought that he should have pushed Marcel a lot harder. Marcel hasn't done any press that's honest press, and we didn't have to get that conversation. That'd be like bringing Nick Gibson on your show and being like, Nick, tell us why everyone's hurt you and why it's not your fault because the post office ruined your books. We got to hold people accountable sometimes, and that means the hard questions. And I know I'm not the only one who told you this, Tyler. I know I'm not the only one.
I hope that's good context for you, Tyler. Okay. Anything else, Varian? What's our number?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I had to go.
All right. It's early in the morning. You're daydreaming. We understand.
Oh, I'm not. Well, I was outside.
Zoning away.
Yeah, I had to go outside, and now since I've had my medication break, I'm like, oh, this is a show. That's right. Right now, our numbers are at INDEEvent Radio. Numbers are. Okay, I'm sorry. Wrong tab.
Caveman did comics. How crazy is that?
There you go. Our numbers right now are sitting at 48,910, just under 915. So yeah, 48,915 people. I want to thank Germany. I want to thank the UK, France, Russia, Japan, and Australia for coming in and being in our top listeners today. Most of them are listening in. And what's that? No, they're not up there right now. So.
Rob, I get the impression that you and Tyler should probably do a Saturday night show together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What am I missing?
Tyler, whenever you're ready, set it up. We can get that set up for you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No problem. Or Rob can do an episode of Draw and Talk.
I think that I think that when we have our shows and everybody's got.
Hold on. Very real quick question. On the other night, didn't you mention to Tyler that you weren't happy with that interview?
Oh, I think I told Tyler. I said I stream sniped him when we had the show where that was Randy, you and I. I think someone else was in the room too. And we had stream sniped him, and I said I was trolling him. But you actually were in the chat.
Yeah,
you actually were in the chat that night, and you said, and you were.
Let me ask you one last question in the room. Did anyone think that interview was a good interview? As far as pushing someone who's hurt people in the indie industry. Remember, he's taken away IPs from people. He has not paid his artists. These are real things that Marcel did. Did anyone think that came off as a real interview?
I think and my opinion of it is this. I think that, first of all, we all have our different shows. We all have our different methods. For instance, if we need to get the truth and get somebody, like someone that's doing something horrible in comics, well, I'm not the person to send. Rob would be, because Rob has the name. What do we call Rob? The Hammer? Was that it? Randy? He's like a hammer. He just goes in and bam, 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 and he does not stop. He's relentless in that way. Which is why when I lost my temper Tuesday, people were shocked. And not just that, I got the cops calling on me. So I have to not lose my temper anymore. But having said that,
well, that was an infantile move by an infantile person.
Well, yeah. I mean, he did. But I think we all have our different ways to go about it. I think that the interview in question, I haven't listened to all of it, but I think the interview in question, I think that Rob, what you wanted and what you were listening for is you wanted Tyler to hold Marcel's feet to the fire and make him answer up for the people who are going on social media, because they're not hard to find, who say that, hey, he's not putting these comics out. And also, Rob you've got a couple books that you've backed that you've yet to receive from Marcel, correct?
I'm waiting on the dog days.
So you're personally like affected
Over a year.
financially.
Over a year. Chris Cole, I think is how it's pronounced. He just did an update. We can read the update, but the basic update was like, it's been hard, I got held accountable, poor me. And of course I'm paraphrasing. But I'm going to finally get you the book a year later. But I'm going to give him credit. I'm going to give Marcel credit right now. He is talking about getting books out. I am happy to see that he is talking about making amends. That's what I want to see from him. But my problem with what he did on Draw and Talk was he said it repeatedly, and you can go back and watch this, I'm starting to take Marcel's side. We're not supposed to take sides aside from the truth. There were questions in that chat he chose not to ask. Because to be honest, he was trying to be nice to Marcel. And that I give him credit for. And if you know Tyler, he's a nice guy. He really is. He comes off as a very nice guy. And my problem was that he kept saying, I'm just a reporter, I'm just a journalist. And he was saying that. That's not how a journalist acts. If he was like, I'm just a host, then I wouldn't have said a word to him. It's his wording. And he knows this. I've told him this. It's the fact that he cherry-picked things and tried to make someone bad look good. I have no hate for Tyler. I just think it's softball stuff. And that's the type of show he has. And I've told him that. And I've told him repeatedly, you can't say that you're going to be objective and take a side. He literally said, well, I'm taking your side, Marcel. While people in the chat are saying he stole my IP. But again, credit to Marcel. He is trying to make things right now. So I give Marcel credit. I hope that trend continues. I hope we see Dog Days by the end of the year. That'd be awesome. I hope he clears out all of his books. Because that realistically, and we've talked about this already, we want to see Marcel actually succeed. Because Marcel has the talent of bringing together great creators. He has a talent of making beautiful books. This is not something I've ever hidden. The reason we put pressure on him, we talked about it so much, is we actually think he can be successful. Other people like Nick Gibson, we want just to go away. We want Karen Gibson to go bye-bye. Bye-bye, Karen.
I think, JD, if you want to call up your campaign, we'd love to show it.
Yeah, it's right there. I
Here
see
in
it.
just a second.
Yeah, it's right.
I think that in most cases,
I see it now.
Again, we all have different ways of doing our shows. Mine is to sit back like this with my valve open and gape as to what the person's doing. You guys know, and we've made jokes about this. Hey, you want to come on IndieVault? Sure, come on. Then I find out 2 days later, that person is making a book, based off of Minecon. It's like, oh, well, I didn't know that. but because I literally don't do the research. I don't. I mean, you got a book you want to come on? Rob, you do a lot more research than I do. And then Tyler, Tyler, he posted that he didn't know about the quote unquote crimes, and you wanted me to hold Marcel accountable, and I'm not God.
He used my site, never shouted out my site, never said, hey, this is Rob's site, comicbookadvocates.com. Just took my site, put it up there, and cherry-picked what he wanted to talk about. He didn't talk about everything. So, I mean, you can't say he didn't know the crimes when I literally listed him for him.
But the other thing,
they were there. It was on his screen. This is my moment with you, Tyler. Stop. Just go. I didn't want to have that interview, and I'll respect you for that.
Well, I think I was gonna say the other thing is that sometimes you got to remember your guest. You don't want to make your guests feel. You don't want to make your guests feel uncomfortable. Yeah, like I had to when I was going off that night on Nick, I stopped because there was some personal information that someone provided me that I was gonna spill, and I was like, and I was worried about damaging not just that friendship, but others, because they would have said, hey, she told you that in confidence, and you kind of went out there and told everybody. Then she put it in a blog, and
then I spilled it all the next day.
And I was like, God damn it, I could have said it. But yeah, I mean, there's this week.
Maybe it wasn't. I think it was good thinking though, Varian, because it really wasn't yours to spill.
Yeah, and I figured, I said I'm not going to say anything. However, I will say this: she beat me to the punch. She scooped me. I don't appreciate it. She knows how it is. I should have known she was going to do that with the Geekorama stuff. And it was,
Tyler, do us a favor. Just invite Rob onto your show or be on Rob's show on Saturday night. And they'd love to hash this out. We are not going to have the time to be able to address all of this today.
Well, yeah, because we got to.
I'm sorry, and I don't mean to put you off, but quite frankly, this conversation deserves a larger platform or a larger time slot than what we're going to be able to give it today.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I could record it, but then I have to play it. Anyway, yeah.
Does that sound all right to you, Rob?
Well, actually, I have a show at 11 o'clock. It's the news show. He's more than welcome to come on and tell his side. But I will reference the video. I will bring it up. I will show you the things that you did that upset me if you want to have that conversation. I'm good with that. Okay. And he said all stories have two sides, creator and Marcel. Okay, this is my problem again. You should put the creators. That's the point of the story I ran. It wasn't one, and there were other sites that ran it right after we ran it. And you're forgetting that. And it's not about me, Tyler. I know you want to make this about me, but what you don't understand is that a lot of people felt hurt by that because you let Marcel off the hook. It's the only interview he did because he knew you'd be nice to him. So the anger is not necessarily towards you, it's towards that program. And it's your choice. And let's be honest, you put them on because you know you get ratings. That's not a problem. We all do stuff like that. But just be honest. The creators, that's what I'm asking. The creators in Marcel. That's it. Yes, please. Okay, if you forgot it, I give you the respect. But it is more than one.
Anyway, you all really need your own forum for this.
I would like to see you guys actually continue because I know we got that small time slot here because we're part of the INDEEvent, so we can't stay on.
I don't want to squash the discussion, but I want to encourage a larger time to address it.
If Tyler wants to come on and talk about it, though, we definitely can make that happen.
I've never needed my wig, robe, and wig
gavel
faster. Yeah, my gavel. It's coming. It's coming. Sit here and go. Order. Straighten your ass out. We're not here to talk about this stuff. Find your own forum.
The hammer has been dropped.
We'll drop it. Absolutely. What's our number, Varian?
Our number right now is actually sitting at 50,604. So it is really cool when we get it. But to take that time to talk about JD's
floor
program.
yields to controversy, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, JD, tell us about your stuff.
All right. So, like I've said before, this is the Oswald Chronicles. Story based around a mouse who's the only mouse in existence who can read or speak or think. And his destiny is to become the greatest sorcerer of our time. And this is his opening story, these first 8 issues. And like I said, it's currently available on Indiegogo. And we experience his world where he's surrounded by all these fae and all of these orcs and trolls. And he lives in the middle of Manhattan. And all this stuff is going on there while this is happening. So and that's pretty much it. And we also have this issue here. This is It Came Seeking Me. And this is a one-shot with him. This was illustrated by Matt Lunsford.
I love that. That cover is amazing.
Yeah, this was... yeah. I mean, Matt was an incredible artist. He worked with me on Tenchi Muyo. He worked with me on quite a number of things. But I'm pretty sure he'll be mad at me for saying this. He's kind of retired. But I'm trying to get him back in, though. But Matt's a fantastic artist.
That's a genuine shame.
Yeah, it is. It is. But the Oswald Chronicles, spans the life of Oswald, and these are some of the other issues available. You can see some of the covers there.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Nice. Indiegogo, Oswald Chronicles.
Yep, currently on Indiegogo. So please check it out. I have a lot of different levels. If you order books domestically, all the shipping is included. All the books are limited edition. So once I finish these editions, you'll no longer be seeing them in this format. So the original covers are by Jade Gonzalez. She's the original artist. And then the covers underneath here are by Donnie H. And these are limited editions. Once they're done, they're not going to be reproduced in this format. So
and this is a limited time campaign, right?
Yeah, there'll be 19. There's I think I have another 17 days running on it.
Okay.
So
scroll back up. Varian, are you in control there, or is that you, JD?
No, that's me.
Scroll it up.
Oh, okay, wait a second. Hold on. I'm on the wrong page.
Look at that gray tones.
Yeah. So this is the current campaign right here. So you can pick up all 8 issues. There's also PDF issues if you're overseas. Shipping is very expensive, as we already know. Shipping overseas is very expensive. So there's a lot of PDF levels. I have PDF level number 3 for $20, and this comes with about 300 pages worth of content. So it's all 8 issues plus the one shot.
Cool.
So if anyone wants to read a lot of content and get it all over the world, I think this is the way to go for it.
Great.
Or you can pick up the books.
Yep. All right. Thanks so much.
Right. Thank you.
Josh, anything to promote?
Yeah, actually, right now I am pushing the next Henry Graves book. I showed a little bit of the artwork earlier. It's called Autumn Lilies and Other Short Stories. It is the next installment. It is a sequel to The Story of a Piano. And this one's pretty cool because the world of Henry Graves, just in the first book, is very narrow. You just get to see Henry doing a little bit of Sherlock Holmes detective work. And the first one has a woman appearing that she appears at the police station. Let me actually read the back for you. When a bloodied woman appears at the police station and claims that her husband attacked her with a knife, the police are convinced that they have another deranged psychopath on their hands. However, when she reveals that her husband was crushed and killed by a falling piano a few weeks prior, questions and eyebrows begin to rise. So basically, you got a woman, shows up, her husband's dead, but she claims that he was attacking her. And so Henry is case because he deals with the strange and unusual. So that's the Story of a Piano. And then, like I said, the new one coming out is the Autumn Alize, which is a direct sequel. Takes place, honestly, only about a few days after this one. And we get to see a few short stories that are 4 to 8 pages long each. And there are 5 different stories in there. You get to see a glimpse in Henry's childhood. You get to see a little bit more about his life growing up, his family and whatnot. So I really decided to take a step back from the detective work and really get to know Henry. As we get to explore this very vast world that I've been working on the past few years.
Cool.
So that next one's coming up. I've got some artwork up on my Instagram, JR Comic Arts. I post pretty regularly, showing some of my art up there. And then the pre-order is available at jrcomicart.com. I do have a PDF available for overseas. JD, you mentioned expensive overseas shipping. That is a big thing. So if you want to check it out, if you want to read it, like I said, August 3rd is the release date, and that is an option. The PDF is an option, but the book will be releasing, and it is a 40-page book that has some work. Actually, I was really excited because I brought on the colorist that I did with the astronaut high schooler, Simon Rodriguez. He's a local to me, and he helped me out with this book. And even my mom even chipped in some time doing some color plats. So it's amazing. You got to call on the people who can help. She's been a graphic designer for close to 30 years now. So you got to call on the people who can help you the most. And it's honestly, I've been pretty pleased with how many people have been able to chip in some time and help me out get these books done. So
that is awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
good. And again, where can they find those?
All of the books that I have are at my website, jrcomicart.com. And if you want to check out all of the artwork that's kind of updating as you go, Instagram is the best place to find it, JR Comic Arts. And like I said, at Instagram. Twitter, I update very rarely, but you can find me there at the same name.
Yeah, we stay sane and don't twit very often.
That is very true.
Kat, anything you want to push?
Well, sure. I don't know how to do the screen share thing.
No, you can just hold it up, or is it available? Is there someplace, anything I can pull up for you?
Well, I've got 2 things. I've got my own book that's coming out on Tuesday, and it's just out of my reach.
Okay.
So I can't show it to you. But I also have a project currently on Kickstarter, which is a Teddy Bear Tale Twilight.
Give me just a second to pull that up. Keep
sure.
talking. I'll pull it up.
All right.
What was the name again?
Well, this is my book. If you show it there.
Did we get it? We got it.
That is my book. It is currently available for pre-order on Amazon for ebooks. If technically the book's not out till Tuesday, but if you notice, there's the link already. for paperback.
Mhm.
So technically you can order it now.
You can pre-order it. Absolutely. Amazon allows that.
Well, Amazon allows pre-orders for ebooks, but not paperback.
Oh,
I don't know what that's about, but that's their policy. But the paperback link is actually live now. So while I say Tuesday, technically you could order it, the paperback, today.
awesome.
And-
That's Tales from the Toy Store.
Yep, that's Tales from the Toy Store. It is 20 short stories, all involving toys that live in a toy store. They go on various adventures and do various things.
Sweet.
And all based on toys that my kids and I have actually owned over the years and probably still have around the house.
Awesome.
So, like, there's a story about this guy. His name is Twee. He's an otter.
Hang on.
You want to see him up close?
There we go.
There you go. This is Twee. Whoop, other way. There we go.
Yep.
There you go.
So he's a little otter. He moves into the toy store and meets Rory, the otter who's lived there for years. So you can see the tiger behind me. That's Horace. He's got a story. He's in a few different stories. He's kind of a big name around the toy store. And so that's available technically now. And then we also have a Teddy Bear Tale Awakenings on Kickstarter, which is, we are doing issues 5 and 6 as well as the trade right now. And that is, again, teddy bears and toys. See a theme here?
Could be.
Yeah. And they actually protect their children from the monsters under the bed and the boogeyman. Well, this time it didn't go so well, and they've had to travel to the underbed to rescue the boy's soul from the boogeyman.
Okay, give me just a second here. Boom.
So
and
that
boom.
that currently has 12 days to go.
Okay.
We have about $1,200 still needed to fund,
All right. And 12 days to go.
and 12 days to go. So
Folks, take a look at that. That's a Teddy Bear Teddy Bear Tale Awakenings over on Kickstarter. Let's scroll down a little bit on that.
Yeah. Our artist is Veronica Smith. She does all the cover and interior art. She is out of Michigan. Incredibly skilled and talented. She does all her own colors, everything.
Sweet.
So.
That's a mighty thick Teddy Bear Tale book.
That is a mighty thick version of it.
Yeah.
The actual book, I believe, is that's a mock-up, but I believe the actual book for the trade is 100 plus pages, and it is
This is 150 plus page graphic novel.
150 plus, and it is available in softcover and hardcover.
Sweet.
We also have a line of custom toys that are all handcrafted by a fantastic seamstress. I'm not sure what to call her.
Yeah, seamstress I think would work.
Yeah, but she handcrafts all the toys.
I think that's it right there.
Those are them right there, and those represent various characters in the book.
Sweet.
So those are also available. So you can have your own toy to fight the monsters under the bed.
Oh, look at that. That's cool.
This is D and Duo. This is another book that we would love to get out there.
Okay.
It's a very intelligent, smart little girl. Her grumpy teddy bear and her stuffed her rubber dinosaur.
Yeah.
And their adventures.
That looks amazing.
Yeah.
I like it. I like the fuzzy slippers. That's a nice touch.
Yeah,
The bunny
yeah.
slippers.
I
Good
love
touch.
her bunny slippers.
Good touch. Good touch.
They look comfy.
Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, if you're gonna go on adventures, you should you should be comfy doing it.
Yes.
And that's
Those
it
are-
for me. I mean,
Those are pages from the book here.
these are actual pages from, I believe, issue 4.
Okay.
She is currently drawing and doing all of the work for 5 and 6.
And this Teddy Bear Tale, has that got issue 4 in it?
You can get either the trade, which has all of the issues,
Mm-hmm.
or you can buy the current what would be, I call it single issue, but it's actually issues 5 and 6,
Okay,
which are the last 2 issues in the series.
gotcha. All right. Looks
And those
great.
those little guys with the helmets down in the corner are my favorite bad guys. they're the no names.
They look like little miners.
And they're funny.
Sweet, good. All right. Anything else?
If we wanted to,
I said that's it for me. I'm promoting 2 at the same time is a lot.
Yeah, yes, it is.
that
Yes,
was
it is.
good work.
Best of luck on both of those. So, Rob, you're up.
Hi, I don't have much time to stay on with you guys because I'm actually up next, believe it or not.
Okay.
I did Tyler the links, so me and Tyler will have a conversation about exactly what I went on in that video. I'm going to give him the opportunity. It's indie news. I
Awesome.
never run from. Oh, sorry, I didn't know the camera's up.
No, that's all right.
I never run from anything. He
No.
wants to have a conversation about it. I'm happy. I'm sorry it's built into this show.
No, it's all. You're fine. You're fine.
Someone
all
apparently wants to stir trouble. I will ask him who tried to stir trouble, but this is all stuff Tyler's heard from me. And we'll have a conversation on my own show.
Good.
So that comes up next on the INDEEvent. Thank you all for being part of it. Thank you to all the listeners. Over 50K. Congratulations, Randy Zimmerman. First time IndieVolt AM has made 50K.
Yep.
Big moment, big moment. Thank you all for being part of it. Thank
We
you.
appreciate everybody listening, everybody here. Make sure you hit that like button if you're over on YouTube. If you can, get over to YouTube and subscribe to the IndieVolt channel. No matter where you're at, we can definitely use the subscribers. If our subscriber number over there is way too low, if we can get up to 1,000 subscribers, we could actually get monetized from YouTube, kind of try to afford all of this bandwidth that we're using, and maybe even have to worry about YouTube pulling our monetization. So that would be a happy problem we can easily take on.
Yeah, please subscribe, guys, to IndieVolt YouTube. YouTube helps us a lot right now.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Please get us 1,000 subscribers. Tell your friends. Really, really, really push that. And you are all invited to the indie news. If you have something you want to push, Katrina, JD, you want to come on over? Come on over. I'm sorry, John.
Josh.
Sorry, Josh. Josh, you're invited. I put the link in there. You guys can come over. We can continue this conversation into the next hour.
Appreciate
Thank you all for being part of the IndieEvent.
And we only have a few minutes left, and Variant's here. We're going to, well, hello, Ricardo.
Hello,
Thank you.
Ricardo.
From Portugal. Yeah.
Always happy to have folks on. Variant's now here. Variant, let's run through the list.
Yeah, so if you want to keep listening to the IndieEvent as well as some choice indie music, you can do so by downloading the IndieVolt Radio app on Google Play or Streamer if you have an Apple iPhone. Download the Streamer app, you're going to type IndieVolt Radio in and bring us right up.
Hang on just a second here.
Oh, that app is free, by the way, and it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so it's always on, and it's completely free. Speaking of free, our other app, IndieVolt TV on Roku and Roku-enabled televisions, is also free. It's an over-the-top streaming network where you can watch independent movies. Some of these shows.
Rob has to run, I believe.
All right. Yeah, I'll see you, Rob. So you can watch these shows. You can watch some exclusive content we have on the show.
There we go.
Pretty cool.
Rob, we'll see you soon. Take care.
Yep.
So yeah, pop over to IndieVolt TV and check that out on Roku. It's free as well. And if you want to send a question, then go ahead, Randy.
If you want to send a question in, please feel free. There's no question too silly, no question too smart. There's sometimes they get a little smarmy, but that's okay. Over at IndieVolt Live, make sure you put that in the subject line, IndieVolt Live, over at indievolt.com. Feel free to send us your any email. We're always open for suggestions, critiques, critiques or questions, especially questions about anything involving around comics, media, genre, or genre media, I should say. Anything like that. And like I said, no questions too silly, no questions too serious. Include IndieVolt Live and subject. Please keep your emails to 90 words or less, please, so that Varian can type them on a card and we can all read them and address them on the show. And remember, your feedback or our feedback will be better because of your setback. So feel free to send in those emails. Hashtag get an education. Hashtag IndieVolt. All right, we've hit that time where we need to run. I want to thank everybody for showing up for the early morning breakfast buzz. We know it was a Sunday and it's impromptu. It's all part of the INDEEvent list of programs, and we're deeply grateful you took the time to be on. And again, thanks to Rob and Anthony and everyone else that was part of the chat, everyone listening out there in IndieVolt Radio. We deeply, deeply appreciate you, and we hope you take care and stay safe. We're signing off in a hurry so that we can get on to other things. All right. Take care, everybody.
Thank
See you soon.
Have a
Take
good day.
care. Be safe.
Bye.
Yay! Think about what you've accomplished.